Hello students, I hope you are safe and at home during this COVID-19 outbreak. I am Shari Das, Assistant Professor of Ideal Institute of Engineering. Today, to keep on with our studies and on our regular lessons, we'll be dealing with a portion from the Sensors and Transducers part of 8th semester Electrical Engineering curriculum, and the topic we'll be dealing today is pneumatic actuators. Now, to begin the chapter, we have this general outline where we'll be dealing with few of the references. We'll be dealing with what actually are pneumatic actuators, the different type of actuators, its major applications, working principles, major specification, limitation, and cost. Now, this is the references I have used. If you want, you can go through any of the papers, or you can very well consult the book by D. Potronovich with the title of Sensors and Transducers. Now we come to what are pneumatic actuators. Now, any part of actuator or sensor which is operated by air or it is controlled by air pressure or exhaustion of air is termed as pneumatic. So a pneumatic actuator is basically a transducer that converts energy, typically from compressed air, into motion. Now, these are the various types of pneumatic actuators that we'll be dealing with. First is the tie rod cylinder, which are the linear actuators. Then the rotary actuators, which act as the air motors. Then grippers, which you are commonly aware of, and the pneumatic control valve. This is a rod type cylinder or a rod cylinder type pneumatic, which provides linear motion from compressed air. Now, this can have both single and double action depending upon its area of application. The rotary actuator or the air motor has four types, or rather four features: the rotary vane, the gears, the turbine, and the piston. Now, these four types or these four components has been systematically described from the left to right. In the leftmost part, we have the rotary vane, then a combination of gears, then the turbine in the absolute middle, and the resultant part or the part which is where the action is taking place as the piston. This is a pneumatic gripper which involves both linear and angular motion. Now, this type of actuator can be often used in various industrial as well as domestic purposes for picking and placing objects. Generally, it has fully open and fully closed settings and does not have control to go to intermediate position. Now, this is a pneumatic control valve in which the air pressure is used to open the valve, and it is used in conjunction with the electric controller. Now, if we see, the control valve is at the lowermost part. It is added or it is connected with the feedback linkage which is attached with the actuator. The air supply out and the air supply in is connected with the supply vent, and that is controlled or that is again attached with the controller output signal. This controller modulates how much air supply is supposed to come or is supposed to be released from this entire setup. Depending upon that, the actuator is moved on the feedback linkage, and the feedback linkage has a scale or a gauge attached to it. That gauge determines the amount of air pressure the control valve will face. The next is the tie rod application. These two cylinders which are marked with arrows gives a quick labeling or acts as a applier when there is any areas where compression is needed. The rotary actuator, which is commonly seen in power tools, drills, etc., is also another component of pneumatic actuator. This is a robotic gripper which is totally controlled by air pressure, and at times hydraulic is also used in this, but the figure or the model showed here is that of a pneumatic gripper. Now the main application of this control valve is to control the fluid flow. In this case, the fluid is air, and it can precisely control the flow or can provide on and off type of control. The spring, it acts as a controller depending upon how much fluid is in or how much fluid has to be let out. Now the basic working principle involves converting pneumatic energy into mechanical energy to produce work. There is a hollow cylinder with a piston inside. The air pushes the piston, causing motion in the cylinder, and the piston is connected to an external rod that provides the means to use the motion. Now this actuator can be used as a spring in both single or double motion, and the return of the air in the actuator can be via multiple ports. Now this is the basic formula that is used, where we know very well that pressure equals force by area, and the volume of the cylinder is taken as its geometric volume, and the airflow rate should be the cylinder volume cross 2 times cycles per minute, depending upon how many cycles we are considering as a 2-stroke piston. Now the basic limitations that come are that compressibility of air makes movement and positioning imprecise, and none of the pneumatic instruments or actuators is capable of doing heavy work, and the maintenance crew, it is pretty difficult for them to fix an air leak. So that will be all for today. Next day we'll be dealing with another topic from the same subject area. Thank you.